Hi, this is Jeff Blauette, technical agronomist with Cooperative Farmers Elevator, and on this week's Field Friday segment, kind of wanted to talk about something that we maybe want to be watching for here in this next period of time. We're just coming out of some really nice, cool days that felt great for us, but it sounds like we're going to get back into the oven here this next period of time, this next week or so, without a lot of rain in the forecast. Something I'm concerned about going forward on corn and beans for that matter is what we're going to maybe see with spider mites. We get into hot, dry, prolonged weather patterns. Spider mites tend to like that environment. That's the biggest concern I have insect-wise. And actually, technically, they're not insects. Actually, spider mites are arachnids. They are spiders. But we treat them like an insect. The biggest concern I have is as we get into these dry, stressed periods, they're super tiny. I can't even see them with my naked eye anymore without glasses. They're really, really tiny. The problem is there's usually a lot of them, and they can proliferate with heat and stressed conditions is what they actually really like. So when that crop is under stress, they actually can reproduce and double in size and triple and quadruple in size of the population really, really quickly. And that's why they get real bad when we have a prolonged, hot and dry period. I'm seeing them out in fields. Where you're going to see them more often is on the edges. Any place there's like a grass ditch or a waterway, any place where there's edges is usually where they start showing up. And then they spread throughout the field if the conditions allow, and that's potential what could happen here. We've seen them, you'll see them most every year, but Mother Nature's method of keeping them kind of in check typically is if we have enough moisture around, there's some fungal pathogens within the canopy and within the crop that basically will keep the population from going anywhere and doing anything. I'm concerned about that not being the case this year, though. It bears watching. I don't know if you guys can remember back with some of the issues we maybe had, like in 2012, for instance, was a year that we had a lot of spider mites around. And we had to treat for them and deal with them, and I'm concerned about that potential again. You have to be careful, though. Not every insecticide is effective on spider mites. Matter of fact, a lot of them are not. So you have to be cognizant of that. The other thing you have to realize is don't count on really anything having any residual from an insecticide perspective. You're hoping to knock out what's there, and you hope the weather improves after that. We can knock them down and they can still proliferate again. That is a concern as well when we get into a longer period. There are some better products, some miticides that actually do have some residual that could be effective. They're more expensive, and we really have to be making that decision that we want to go that route, but just understand that it's not as easy to knock them out as it is a lot of other insects. The symptoms on the leaves, the very beginning symptoms, you can see some yellowing on the leaves. We always think of yellowing as nitrogen deficiency, or if you're paying attention, sometimes potassium deficiency. This is a little different pattern of yellow. You see kind of just a yellowish appearance on the leaf, but it's not really down the center of the midrib, and it's not on the outer edges, which is what potassium would look like. So it's a little different look, and then you turn the leaf upside down, and if you look closely, you might see some fine, looks like some spider webbing, and that's actually one of the ways they can move is they swing on those little tiny web strings or whatever, and they swing in that when the wind's moving the corn or whatever. That's kind of one of their moving methods that they actually have. But just wanted to make you aware, we need to keep an eye on this for a while until we get into a more wetter pattern. This could be a while where we got to watch for them. Even if we've already sprayed fungicide and had an insecticide in the tank, we're not done watching, unfortunately, because like I say, we don't really get any residual out of most of the insecticides we're using. We're just trying to knock out what's there. So just wanted to make you aware of that. It could be a factor in corn and soybeans, and Hopefully we get some rain to break this cycle, but if we stay in the 90s and end up in some drought stress, this could be something that bears watching. So with that, that's this week's Field Friday segment, and we'll see you next week.